Today, as we continue on in the Gospel of Matthew with the parables, the stories that Jesus told to get people to understand, I always have problems with the parables about farming. Even though I lived in a farming community down in Peru, I don't really have a green thumb. It's kind of interesting for me when I go to visit my sisters and all that, because they're really into gardening. They know the names of plants and all this stuff, and they talk where they planted them, where they don't plant them, and how they have sun. And I kind of sit there, oh yeah, gee, that's nice. I learn stuff, but it doesn't really help me put anything into practice. And today in the gospel, in the parable of the sower that goes out and casts the seed, I read a commentary that really challenged me, because I think everyone in the church would probably think that we could be one of the sowers or one of the workers of the sower, that we notice that there's weeds in the garden. And then because we're faithful people, because we're people of faith, and we know that we usually come to Mass, we usually may read the Bible, we do prayers at home and all that, and we're pretty much sure that we have it, we're pretty good. We may acknowledge that we sin every once in a while going through, but we think we know what we're doing, and we're going to just pull those weeds out. And the commentary that I read said, that probably wasn't the intent that Jesus wanted, or that his people understood. Because when in the parables and the time when Jesus wrote them, it was more, I am describing to you how we are living in the world. So it is a whole big picture of the world. It's not meant to be individualized. And I was reflecting on that, because it's a thing of that we have maybe, we are part of something bigger, and we don't always call the shots. And I had to get, and this is probably, I don't know why, I don't know if God worked or not, I had to get out of thinking that flowers or good harvest and weeds, but rather, if it's the ambience where we are, how is it that we are open to how God is nurturing us and caring for us? Because in my little potted plants that I have in the back of my patio and stuff, I had somebody over and they said, hey, look, there's a weed in there. I go, really? Kind of looks nice to me, going forward. And the whole part of God allowing those weeds and stuff to grow together sometimes doesn't make sense to me. And I heard a comment, I read another commentary. He said, well, maybe we need another image. And he said, think of a baseball team. Now that I could identify with, because I'm a sports nut. I could identify with the team. God is the coach. And we have our team, and we're all members of the team. And we all have different talents. And we all have different gifts. Some play the outfield, some pitch, some are catchers, some are designated hitters, some could play multiple positions and go forward. And he says, probably the hardest thing for us on the team when we think we're really good is to watch the coach put in a player that's not doing well, that keeps striking out, that doesn't hit as good as he should have been, even though he has a high-paid contract. And the reflection is how patient can we be to be part of God's plan that may not work the way we want it to work? How difficult is that for us to continue to live our faith and to do what we think we need to do? And then when we see other people not doing that thing and maybe getting different gifts and stuff going forward, how patient can we be to trust that God is at work even in those moments that we don't agree with, that are contrary to what we would do or contrary to what we would want to do, meaning pulling weeds or changing the baseball player or going forward. And I think that for me was something I really reflected on, or I'm thinking about as we go forward with our faith, and as we go forward during the summertime and all the difficulties that we're having with climate and all this and lack of food and all that stuff going forward. How patient can we be to trust that God is really the author of what's going on. And we need to be confident that the Lord is inviting us to do what we can, even though we may not see the results. So as maybe good farmers or good people that plant stuff, or maybe people that watch baseball, and I know Cubs and Sox fans were both in a bad time. We're not doing very, very well in the thing, and we probably all would want to be the coaches going forward. It's how is it, going back to religion, how is it that we trust in a God who allows the world to grow and develop, and then one day we will see the fruitfulness of it, be it at the end of our lives or at the end times. But are we confident that God's will be done? And if we work the way we can, we will be part of the fruitful harvest.